we're live. Let's
Okay.
not talk about it right now.
Mm-hmm.
All right, what's up, everybody? We are taste testing coffee today. Brew. We are doing the honey. It's the way they roast the coffee. Let's see if they have a thing here about how each one is done. Okay, yeah, here we go. All right, so the honey processed coffee comes from Luis Alberto's, located in the northeastern something in Nicaragua. There's 252 acre expansions. All right, processing method is the seeds are separated from the fruit after harvest, but the residual fruit and sugar that cling to the seed is not washed away before drying. The coffee beans are then shielded by this layer of dried fruit during an extended drying time. This combination of fruit essence and fermentation creates new flavors on top of the flavors intrinsic to the coffee seed. Whereas the wash is you take it, you wash it first, and then you dry the bean. So this one is the honey processing of it, and it's supposed to have a floral fragrance, a juicy body, stone fruit acidity, and cascading finish. Cascading finish. Think waterfalls. It's currently brewing. It's about done, so I'm gonna go fill up our cups here.
So this should be interesting. Mark and I are, of course, both coffee drinkers. I've drank coffee forever.
Yeah.
And Mark, when he was in the military, as
I acquired the taste.
yeah, he acquired a taste for it, and he learned how to make good coffee. Because probably a lot of you know this, but the Navy trains their medics or their corpsmen, and then the corpsmen are assigned with the Marine units, okay? And generally, the major duty of the corpsman is to, make coffee for the Marines.
Yeah, that's it.
That's that's
our
pretty.
only job.
Now, in the military, I was in the Army, and there the Army medic goes out on the field and tries to save people who've been wounded and drag them back. But in the
That's not as important as coffee.
but in the Navy, with the Marines, if a Marine gets shot, they'll usually hear the corpsman going, "Hey, would you like a cup of coffee?" "No, I want somebody to come here and heal my wound." You go, "Okay, I'll see if I can find a medic somewhere."
So the first thing you do is you smell. So go ahead and pick it up.
Okay, all right.
It doesn't have much of a smell to it.
No, I hope you made it strong enough.
Yeah, I hope so too.
But it does have an aroma.
Yeah.
It has a nice aroma.
And then, do you know how to properly taste it?
Oh, I'm sure that a Marine barista
Yeah.
can teach me how to properly
So
taste it.
you,
Okay.
you take enough here,
Okay. Take some
Into your
the
spoon.
spoon. Okay.
bring it up, smell
All
it,
right.
and then you slurp it. You go. Which allows the air to bring out the flavor.
Yeah, I've noticed that. I noticed you did that before, and I've tried it a couple times, and it does. You can taste it a lot better with that.
Yeah.
Okay. All
I
right.
don't
so
taste
go
a
down.
lot. I don't know if I made it strong enough. I
I
thought
don't.
I did.
I think it's a little too weak.
Yeah.
Okay.
I mean, it's pretty smooth.
Yes, it is. Yes,
It's almost like water.
I think it's now, as you can tell, that this is a little bit, this isn't quite as strong as it should be. So, does anybody have any questions why Mark isn't in the Navy anymore? I don't think
Yeah,
so.
they kicked me out because I didn't make good enough coffee.
Well, if your major job is barista,
But I mean, you still can taste it.
Yeah, it is.
It
And
has a pretty good taste.
yes, it does. Okay, I think I may give it a try here. Let's see. He also kept giving the enemy his position away to the enemy by slurping his coffee.
Yep.
And the Marines decided, we need a quieter barista.
I mean, I don't. It doesn't taste like water. Like I've had thin coffee, and it doesn't necessarily taste like thin coffee
Okay,
to
yeah.
me, but it doesn't necessarily taste like bold coffee.
No, but and we're kind of, I'll usually get that, that,
Maxwell
dark
House.
ground
Yeah.
or whatever, the one that has a whole lot of taste.
And I
to
think
it.
this is supposed to be more of a light flavor to it,
Yes, if I
almost like a breakfast blend.
there you go. I would think that probably this coffee is probably better and more refined than either of our palates.
Yeah, probably.
That's my guess. Is that probably people who know about coffee and are watching us are going, well, those two lugs.
Yeah. So okay, so we're supposed to be, I think, tasting like apricot, peachy, plum, cherry flavor.
Okay, now honestly, I can kind of taste the fruity flavor there
Yeah.
a little bit. Just again, these are always just hints of those flavors.
Right.
It's not really like the flavor is totally there.
Right.
Hmm.
Because it's under stone fruit, so that's those.
Now the thing
Types.
about cascading, cascade is usually where things are falling over,
Yeah.
like a waterfall or something, I think. Or
Let me swish it around my mouth a little
so
bit.
with that, but it said at the end it's supposed to be cascading, right? Okay, let's see.
No, I mean, I like
Okay,
it.
yeah, I do too. And it does at the end. There is a flavor. It's kind of like more kind of the lingering.
I think so too.
Yeah.
Hey, Katie.
So
I mean, I would say if you're not into like the bold flavor of coffee, this might be the best one for you if you want to try a black coffee.
yeah, yeah. If you're usually liking to have a lot of cream and stuff in your coffee,
Yeah.
this one isn't going to
Because it's not super bitter.
No, no, it isn't that. That's exactly true. Yeah. And the thing about it is I actually get a sense that it's that this is a refined
Right.
coffee process of
Yeah.
some type rather than what
And I wonder
usually
if-
buy.
Because like I've had coffee from Vietnam,
Right?
and it was good. It was smooth, but there was a bold flavor to it.
Okay.
And so I don't know how. I know altitude has a effect on the beans.
You mean at what altitude it's grown?
Right.
Because I think in Peru and South America, I think isn't a lot of coffee grown in the Andes.
Yeah.
Yeah. At higher altitudes.
Yeah. I'm trying to see if it tells us about where.
But
I don't know if is Nicaragua a mountainous place. I'm not good with geography. So.
well, we'd have to Google that.
Yeah.
Should I go Google it?
It'll be all right. Well, I would say it probably has some mountains. I feel like Nicaragua's in South America, right?
Oh yeah.
Yeah, so I feel like there's probably some mountain ranges there,
Right.
but it's just at what altitude it's grown at. But I mean, I'm interested in these other ones. So we have washed and natural
Okay.
left. So washed, in wash processing, the seeds are separated from the fruit after harvest and then undergo a fermentation process where yeast from the air eats at the remaining fruit material and sugar on the surface of the seeds. After being washed, the seeds are then dried. This process truly allows us to taste the overarching character of the growing region and the genetic family that the coffee comes from.
Oh, that's interesting.
Yeah, Marigopi, common across all three coffees, and two of its hybrids, I do not know. And then the natural one is the coffee fruit is dried intact with seeds still inside like a raisin. Once fully dried, the fruit is cracked open and the seeds are removed. Natural processed coffee beans have the most contact with fruit sugars, and so they retain the most fruit-like flavors because the extra fermentation of sugars found in the fruit pulp. Natural coffee tends to be sweeter than washed and honeyed counterparts. Okay.
Mm-hmm.
Monitoring humidity and temperature both around the drying beds and inside the fruit. Okay, so what I would probably say is in washed is probably the most like bold flavor.
Okay.
This is probably like a medium, and this is probably more sweet.
Oh, that may be. But the thing I have liked about this is by taking this time and reading about this, it kind of helps me to appreciate that there's more flavors in coffee
Right.
than when you get up in the morning to wake up and just kind of
Yeah,
drink it down.
and it gives you a kind of a respect for the growing process.
Yeah, and the people who do it.
Right,
the
and how
people-
much like scientific feel to it
Yeah,
there is.
yeah, and
Yeah.
how many different ways that they can kind of put it together.
Yeah, but like I feel like the lingering taste stays a pretty good amount of time, and it's a pleasant lingering taste.
Yeah, that's what I would say too. You know, sometimes with the cheaper coffees, the ones that I usually get, you have kind of it's not a pleasant lingering taste.
Right.
It's kind of a overly coffee,
Yeah.
type of thing that will even give you like bad breath sometimes. Yeah.
You know, one thing I also found is so the different roast types, the light, medium, and dark.
Mm-hmm.
You would think dark has the most caffeine,
Mm-hmm.
but it doesn't. The
Yep.
longer the bean roasts, the less caffeine it has, which I found to be pretty interesting.
Yeah, that was to me when you bought Death Wish coffee that has the most caffeine of any coffee.
Yeah,
I was expecting it to have a really
bitter.
bold,
Yeah.
bitter. No, it had a mild
Right.
taste, and I thought. So when I took it to work, I told people, and what was funny was Renee, who's one of the secretaries at work. Her husband's a pastor, and she took it home to use it at the church. And I said, "Hey, be careful with this stuff.
Yeah.
It's got a lot of caffeine in it.
Yeah.
But when you're drinking it, you go, oh, but
Yeah, there's nothing in this.
and then you're wired all night
Yeah,
long,
which is
so,
interesting because
yeah.
I really enjoy the taste of Death Wish, but it is a very bold flavor too.
Yeah.
Um, and sometimes all that you want is that bold flavor of coffee. I think as I've expanded my horizons of coffee, the boldness of the flavor doesn't necessarily impress me as much as the sweet notes.
That's a good observation. As I think about it over time, because my thing was always to get the dark ground, and as time has gone on, I like those less. But then again, see, I grew up, I don't even know if you can remember when McDonald's used to make their McDonald's coffee, and you drink it and you go, is this coffee? And you go, I can't tell if it's coffee or not. And it was, and then the big coffee craze started up here. And then all of a sudden, McDonald's started making coffee that was bolder, but that was
good.
But that was the major thing. It was a much bolder coffee
Right.
when you got it.
Yeah.
And you go, oh, now this tastes like coffee. And then as time goes on, I guess you actually begin to develop tastes that aren't exactly the same as just noticing that big difference.
Right.
Yeah.
And another thing I've learned is places like Starbucks, although you can get, I guess, a coffee-esque type of drink there.
Oh no, you can actually get coffee there. Now it's not supposedly, from what I understand, when I go in and if I order, I just want black coffee.
Yeah.
That's not cool.
No.
No.
Well, you gotta have
But
your like mocha light with 15 pumps of blueberry and
and calf, half
calf.
calf, or
Yeah,
whatever.
yeah.
You know,
But
tell you the truth, I could care
if
less.
you go to
But
the local areas, like the local small coffee shops
right.
that actually put in time, they have what they call our single origins. And so they take their time and do the pour over and stuff like that. And
Hmm.
I enjoy like getting to taste all of them and seeing
Hmm.
what the baristas think are the best
Okay.
of them and then try that one. So
Uh-huh.
and now there's some that I've tried that are like super fruity.
Uh-huh.
And I do not like the super fruity ones.
Oh, oh, okay.
Yeah.
So they can get too fruity
Yeah.
too.
I've had it was
Oh
I think
no,
an
all right.
Ethiopian coffee once
Yeah.
and it tasted like a fruitcake.
Really?
Yeah.
Was it sweet or
It
just?
was sweet. It was like all different types of fruity flavors in it. It was just weird. And I was like, this is not what I want to drink when I drink coffee. But I'm sure there's somebody out there that likes that kind.
Well, to me, it points out the incredible genius
Hmm.
of humans to take something that could have, that in the beginning was just, I'm sure they discovered, I think that was it discovered in Arabia? Or
I
did
think
the
so.
Arabs the first ones have it?
I think so.
Mostly stay awake. And then you wind up taking it to all these different places in the world, and all of these different kind of people figure out different ways to
Yeah.
make this taste.
Yeah.
And to me, you know, that is what is cool about humans,
Hmm.
is that we can modify all kinds of things in order to make it taste in different ways and develop, depending on your culture
Yeah.
that you have, certain flavors will be, you know, more liked in your culture than in another culture.
Right.
And then, of course, as you know, we found too, the old blah McDonald's coffee then became bold McDonald's coffee. Then after a while, the bold
Became too
gets
hot
turned.
and got sued.
Yeah, that's true too. Yeah, yeah, for an old person.
Yeah.
Oh, it could be a money making
Well, no,
opportunity for
actually,
me.
what happened was they were actually keeping it hotter than they were supposed to.
Oh, is that
Yeah,
right?
so that way it stayed hotter longer for people,
Yeah.
even though they were supposed to keep it at a certain temp.
Oh, they
But
kept it above it.
yeah, I was talking to this gentleman yesterday and he was talking about this like type of meat that he ate once. And he was like, for the last like 5 months of the pig's life, they only were fed acorns. And then
Acorns?
yeah, and then the meat was cured for like a year or something and it tasted so good. And I was like, who would have been the first one to say, you know what? I wonder if this pig will taste better if I feed it only acorns.
But there was a guy.
Yeah, there was somebody that did it.
There was a guy. Either that or, oh, now it could be serendipitous. Oh, we got these pigs and we got to keep going and we're all out of corn
Yeah,
and
I
stuff. And
know.
all we got left is acorns,
Yeah,
you know? And then, I mean, but it could have been serendipitous
yeah.
too. But
As I drink
it
more
is
of it, the
interesting.
flavor comes out more, I feel
Oh
like.
yeah, that's
So
good.
I'm really enjoying this one.
Yeah. So, and just so YouTubers know, when I'm teasing my son about his military experience,
It's out of love.
I that is exactly right.
Yeah.
And it's also out of kind of an old tradition
In the
among the
military.
military.
Army versus Navy versus Marines
Yeah.
versus Air Force.
Because when it comes to military experience, my son has had much more actual experience, and I have a great deal of respect for him for that. And he's done much more, you know, things to actually defend the country than I did.
Well,
So,
thank you.
and he's paid a price for that too. And for that, I'm also deeply, respectful
Well,
of.
thank you. So how have you been, Bushy Dad? How's life going for you?
Oh, well, good. We had a baby,
They did not. My sister had a baby.
Yeah, well,
Yeah.
yeah, we kind of let her keep it. That
Bushy's
she-
sister had
Yeah,
one.
we make like it's her baby, but my wife makes sure that most of the time it's spent in my wife's arms. So
Yeah.
anyway,
So,
so we have a little baby Hazley.
yep, her name's
So now-
Hazley.
Now we have two grandparents. We now have Christina and
Yep.
we have Hazley.
I have two nieces.
And we have kind of we have, Sebastian,
Yeah.
who's kind of a step
nephew. Yeah.
grandparent.
So
or
we got the Bushy
grandbaby.
grandparents, the Bushy sister,
Mhm.
the Bushy nieces, and the Bushy baby.
Mhm.
Yeah. So
So,
yeah, you're not fully retired yet, right?
nope, half retired. I work 2 days a week.
Okay. When do you plan on fully retiring?
Well, after we had the baby, I thought about fully retiring because, that is just such a euphoric experience
Hmm.
that I was pretty disoriented at work for a couple of days.
Yeah.
Being 72 years old, there'll be only so much longer I can do this work. Much of the work I do, I evaluate forensic psychiatric patients and then
Mhm.
write reports to the court to let them know how the patient's doing and if the patient's
Yeah.
ready to either go back to court or be
Yeah.
released from the
So
hospital.
what he does is he evaluates their competency to stand trial,
Yes, that's
and
right.
whether or not they are understand the process enough to go through the trial and to have what would be deemed a fair and equitable trial.
Yeah, see, since Mark is a lawyer, he knows about that stuff.
Yep.
Me, I talk to patients, I write it up.
Yeah, that's pretty much what he does. And then he makes stuff up on the stand, just like psychologists do.
Yeah, don't give away all our secrets, Mark. So,
So,
but yeah, kind of.
yeah.
Yeah.
So, but yeah, it's been pretty good. I've been getting into golf lately. I went to the golf range today since
Good for you.
my friend is out of town. I was going to go to where he is, which is St. Mark's, and play, but he's been fishing all day, so I wasn't able to. So I just went to the golf range. But
Well, and Mark's been also going to Weight Watchers,
yep,
and
trying to lose weight.
he's trying to get his weight down to where he'll be a little healthier. and
Yep,
stuff.
down 8 pounds. So
Yeah, way to
Total.
go.
in 2 weeks, and then so just moving little by little, but eventually we'll get there. So
Yeah, doing great.
I didn't gain it all in one day, although it seems like it. And I'm not gonna lose it all in one
Yeah,
day.
I know that. Yeah,
So,
yeah.
but yeah, and the work's going good for me. Been busy. We're down 2 lawyers that we're supposed to have, but
Mhm.
the hiring market is so crazy. There's just no one to hire.
Yeah, really?
Yeah.
That is so bizarre.
Yep.
I mean, I don't know what's going on in this. Well, the economy is in a very weird and precarious situation. Yeah, at the hospital where I work, because of COVID, we just didn't take any patients for almost 2 years.
Yeah.
And of course, they stack up in the jails.
Hmm.
Now the hospital's stuck in a way that we've got to try and move as many patients into it and
Yeah.
get them ready as quickly as possible
Yeah.
and try to get the jails cleared out so that the poor guys don't have to stay
Hmm.
locked up before they get ready to go to trial.
Yeah, and the big thing with us is we had so many backlogs because of COVID that we're all overbooked, and my bosses have 3 trials next month
Wow.
with like no time in between. So it's like 1 week, weekend, next trial, weekend, next trial, and so these ones they don't think are going to settle, although most cases do settle. Um, so they're gonna have a lot of work ahead of them, and I do not envy their job sometimes.
Yeah, oh, I know.
They definitely earn their money.
Well, I'm glad I'm half-time at this time
Yeah,
because the full-time people are looking depleted as time goes on.
yeah,
They're looking tighter and tighter, and they are.
yeah,
They're, the admissions are somewhere between 2 up to 4 times
Okay.
what we usually handle. And, and it, it disrupts the whole process of getting to know the patient. Instead, you wind up moving the patient before you've gotten to know them very well.
Yeah.
Having them go along. Part of getting better in psychiatry, or what the psychologist does and what the direct care staff do, is connecting with the person who is ill at the time
Yeah.
and helping them to come out. And then as they start to stabilize, interacting with them again so that
Yeah.
they kind of re-enter into the world that isn't just
yeah.
driven by a very warped process of seeing the world.
Yeah. I had an interesting question for you. about your work. What would you say is the percentage of people you see as people with mental disabilities, that you think actually did the crime? Because
It
I wonder if a lot of it's put on them because they can't defend themselves.
it can be.
Okay.
Um, and here's the way I would divide it up. Among the people that I have worked with that are in probably the average, low average, a little above average range, the ones that you get in a regular psychiatric hospital,
Hmm.
I would say I I think almost all of them are guilty.
Okay.
Yeah. Now, now here's the thing. You go into the intellectually disabled, and a lot of times I'm talking to these guys that are in, they've taken the rap for their brother.
Okay.
They did this, and we used to have family day,
Mhm.
where these families would come, and after they'd leave, you go, holy crud, we got the pick of the litter. We got the best one out of the group. And a lot of times they got essentially, they out of a sense of trying to do what I can do to help the family, or what
Mhm.
I can do to help my brother, or what I can do to help the guys in the gang,
Mhm.
is, I'll just take the heat and I'll say I did it.
Yeah.
And they'll do that.
Mhm.
Um, I would say that was the greatest amount of people that I saw that probably weren't guilty. And you begin to find that out as you interview them, and they begin to tell you things like, oh yeah, the other two times I went to prison, I didn't do it. My brother did it, but
Mhm.
I was trying to help him out. And then you find out, and then there was one guy we got at one time who everybody's going, this guy isn't intellectually disabled, because he had gotten a degree as a therapist and
Okay.
stuff, which is highly unusual
Yeah.
for our guys to do that stuff. But and his responses were very bizarre.
Right.
There's a group of responses called Ganser responses,
Okay.
and they're approximations of what you ask the person, but it isn't really on in the right way.
Mhm.
So you go things, um, I'm going to make up an name. Go, hey Bob, what does the bailiff do? And and his answer was, uh, it's the bailiff's job to bail the water out of the boat. And you
I
go,
mean, makes sense.
yeah, but it's such a stretch from the thing.
Yeah.
Turned out that guy wasn't intellectually disabled, but he wasn't bright
Oh,
either.
okay.
But he was close to intellectually
Yeah.
disabled. He got set up.
Mm.
And as we worked with him longer and he started to get some of his confidence back,
Yeah.
I remember when I did his last competency evaluation, and he goes, you know, I was, I'm the patsy.
Yeah.
I was the easiest one for them to hang it all on.
Yeah.
And that is true.
Okay.
And he did go back, and I think he was found not guilty.
Okay.
Yeah.
All right. Well, this has been good. I enjoyed it.
Yeah.
So,
Yeah.
thank you all for tuning in. And
Yeah.
as always, until next time, YouTube, smile like you mean it from the
The
Bushy
Bushy fam.
family.